Welcome back, everyone. Today I'm checking out Net.Attack. It's a code-based roguelike survival game. It was kind of an interesting playthrough. I did the tutorial and I did one playthrough, and then I decided to try the hardest difficulty available for the demo. So what you do is you go around and you collect these little data nodes on like a circuit board, and it awards you with cash. While these little bite virus thingies, or whatever you want to call them, start trying to attack you. As you level up, you get your standard roguelike choice between 3 options of leveling. So for this run, I took a lot of early level XP, just because it was the hardest difficulty, and I figured getting the lot of extra levels would help in the long run. And I think it ended up paying off, given how the run plays out. So let's keep going here. Alright, so after you've collected enough of the data nodes, you can essentially leave the level and go on to the next floor. As you see in the top right. Alright, so here you buy your codes for your virus. And they got to link together in kind of a code-like fashion. So my original one is every tick I do this, which sends out the AoE around me, which does damage to them. So essentially an on tick is just it'll start whatever you attach to it. And then you either have it execute something or do a special effect. So in this case, on tick, do damage in a line equal to 20 damage. Infect, I didn't play around with this because it looked like it would be causing damage to me if I did it incorrectly. Because you're typically the executor, unless you have something like the first ability I have there, which turns everything it hits into an executor. But I already had the supply damage, so I didn't really need the infect. So I decided to go on without getting it. So player speed is definitely a useful stat, especially when you want to get around the map or dodge enemies, so I figured that was a good pickup here. Now you notice that new attack I got only aims downward. So I have to be above my enemies to try to hit them with it. And I figure getting radius is going to be helpful, especially since my main ability that does the damage is an area effect. And you can see the progress on the data nodes up at the top right as you infect them. Okay, now that I've oh, I got one more node to get, never mind. So now the map does close in after so long, so you can't just sit there and farm forever. But I was trying to get as much as I could out of it. Alright, after that, each layer you get a high quality node. I thought about taking this one because it allows for a new executor, which then I could do apply the damage, but it didn't really work out that way. The on hit 10. So none of these are really all that appealing to me, to be honest. Now this is what I was looking for. Spawns a mine. So there's a few things I wanted to test with this when I first pick it up. The on-chip data due 10. I was curious if this would work with something like spawn mine. So we're gonna play around with it and see what it does. So now when I hit a mine, when that mine hits something, it'll spawn more mines, which is really OP. But as you noticed, it didn't spawn any mines. So what I need to do was put it so that on tick, spawn a mine. When a mine hits something, it spawns more mines on the enemy that it originally hit. And so what this does is it just exponentially grows the amount of mines that you have on the field. And you'll see that that laser beam, every time I do a data, shoots out 10 blasts. So certain skills only work with certain on-use effects. So I wanted to get more node damage, hoping that my mines would be able to get more kills. Now if you see, if you get pushed off the node, even though I almost had it, it did force me to start over. Kind of getting overwhelmed there. didn't know exactly how that scaling damage one worked, so I was more focused on the guaranteed damage of just basic nodes. Alright, and as you see, once you fully clear the layer, the outer wall does start coming in a lot quicker. So I'm just trying to get as much XP as I can as I make my way down towards the exit. So now the 4-2 on tick should cast 2 times spawn mines that when they hit something spawns 2 mines. So to me this is actually a really interesting concept for skill tree, as it were, because it really makes you think of like if-then statements in basic like code programming. So here I'm just gonna get another on tick, throw out another damage line, throw out another spawn mine that on hit again spawns another mine. Now, if I had another spawn mine, I could throw that on the on kill, and if that final mine kills the enemy, it would spawn yet another mine. Either way, you get the idea. Lots of mines, lots of fun. And you just kind of see the chain reactions going off. It's great. Which is definitely needed because it starts ramping up from here where the amount of enemies gets a little ridiculous. More node damage. Make sure that they're actually dying and not just getting ticked. Yeah, you gotta be careful. Those guys, they explode when they die. And yeah, they do a lot of damage when they explode. was a little concerned with how much damage I took, so I figured I'd take some player health just to give me a little bit of extra leeway. Here I wanted to go collect some of the XP that I had accumulated. Since I was more concerned about XP than I am nodes. So the money doesn't matter as much as doing as much damage as I can from each individual hit. This is where I'm glad I took that bonus XP, because it is just flooding with XP. See, I went up and got a little too close there. On to the next level. This one I haven't gotten to play around with much to see exactly what it does, if I was understanding it right. But my thought was on tick creates circles that hits enemies and spawns mines under them. That was my thought. So I wanted to throw a push just so I don't get swarmed. And I figured some more mines couldn't hurt. And then I figured I'd pick up another on tick just for the next wave. Now I do see the second circle. It's a smaller circle, obviously. And I'm not sure if it's actually spawning mines. Like, it's so hard to tell with how many mines I spawn otherwise. Look at all that XP. There's so many mobs on this floor. I really wish this had like other games where it had pulls in all XP on the map. I think that would be amazing. Here we get to see kind of like a, I don't want to call it a boss, but definitely a bigger unit. And he definitely does not go down easily compared to the other ones. And he shoots projectiles. Luckily the projectiles don't do a lot of damage, so I can soak a few of them. As you see, he just walks through the mines and he doesn't care. Take a few hits just to get through the massive amount of mobs. Here I was debating between more damage or Radius, and I ended up going with damage. I wanted to see if I could kill one of them, but there's just so many AoE or projectiles going out. Now this the projectile creates a new executor, which I think you could use for the infect sort of thing when it says it changes to a new executor. But I haven't found enough to really play around with it too much. See, I don't know what that does either. So there's a lot of these that I haven't really figured out the mechanics for quite yet. Figure if I throw another on tick, I can do another spawn spiral. I can also try this collect. See if I can notice it. The spiral projectiles were definitely nice. I think having a few more of those would definitely make it a really strong build as well. Don't think it would be nearly as strong as the massive mine spawns that I had going. Especially when you just look at that, like, it just chain reacts so well. Curious if you could do in some way, if you could find like an infinite loop. I'm not sure how you would do it yet, but the idea has crossed my mind. Anytime you have like these kind of programming things you could do. where your trigger causes the result that causes the trigger. Here I just want to see how much XP I could pick up, and as you saw, this round went a lot easier than the last one so far. Alright guys, well we're getting near the end here. So this is the final part of the level for the demo. Again, it's Net.Attack if you want to wishlist it or check it out on Steam. If this is the kind of content you enjoy, leave a like, comment, and subscribe. And check out my future videos, because this is the kind of stuff I cover. And I'll catch you next time. Later.